The Vexari swarm never fully recovered from the loss of the super nexus. Their hive mind stayed broken in places. New queens grew slower. Drones acted strange. Some turned on each other without orders. The remaining swarm lords gathered in the deepest nests. They clicked in low tones. No more big attacks. No more hunger-driven charges. They chose silence. They pulled back to the outer rim. They watched. They waited. They hoped humans would forget. Humans did not forget. Colonel Kevin Brooks retired from active command after the Forge Belt battle. He moved to a small house on a quiet colony moon. He planted a garden. He read old books. Young officers visited sometimes. They asked about the swarm. He told them simple words. We fought because we had to. We stopped because we could. That is the difference between myth and reality. Captain Lisa Carter took over fleet operations. She kept the ships ready. She ran drills. She made sure no one thought the war had ended for good. She walked the decks of new carriers. She spoke to crews. They may come again. If they do, we will be here, stronger, smarter, ready. Years passed. The Vexari stayed quiet. Their raids stopped. Their ships stayed far. Trade began to return. Lirani ships arrived first. They brought medicine and art. They asked careful questions. Humans answered open. We want friends. We do not want masters. Drakon vessels came next. They brought metal and stories of old battles. They respected strength. They found it in humans. Krell observers followed. They clicked polite greetings. They shared data on swarm behavior. They wanted to understand what broke the Vexari. The Galactic Concord invited humans to join. Kevin received the message on his porch. He read it slow. He smiled small. He sent a reply. We accept the invitation. As equals, not as subjects. The first human delegation arrived at the Concord Hall. Lisa led them. She walked in plain uniform. No guards, no show. The hall filled with alien faces. Tall Lirani, armored Drakon, clicking Krell. They watched her. Some with wonder, some with caution. Lisa spoke clear. We were gone for a long time. We survived alone. We fought alone. Now we stand with you. We protect our own. We respect yours. That is our offer. The hall stayed quiet. Then one Lirani elder stood. The lost sparks have returned. We welcome the flame. Others followed. Agreements signed. Borders respected. Trade opened. Knowledge shared. Kevin lived long enough to see the first joint fleet. Human carriers beside Lirani scouts. Drakon heavies. Krell support ships. They patrolled together. They trained together. They learned from each other. One day Lisa visited Kevin. She brought news. The Vexaris sent a message. Not surrender, not war, just words. We remember, we stay away. Kevin looked at the stars from his garden. Good. Let them remember. He thought back to the first battle. Small ships against a swarm. Precise shots. Stubborn hearts. No fear. Just duty. Lisa sat beside him. They called us myth. Kevin nodded slow. Now they call us unstoppable. He raised a glass of water to the sky. To the day we stormed into battle. Lisa smiled. And won. The galaxy turned peaceful. Colonies grew. Children from many species played on shared stations. They learned the same lesson. Humans were once myth. Then they returned. They fought. They held. They forgave. They built. No one crossed them again. No one dared. The flame that had vanished for 2,000 years now burned bright. Not to conquer, not to destroy, but to protect, to remember, to remind. And every species knew one truth. When the myth storms into battle, it does not fade. It endures. It wins. And the stars shine safer because of it. The Vexari swarm pulled away from the inner ring with less than half their force left. Broken hive ships drifted in long trails. Queen chambers lay empty. The hive mind felt fractured. Pain signals bounced between surviving vessels. For the first time in centuries, the swarm knew doubt. They retreated to deep space. They rebuilt slowly. New queens grew. New ships formed from salvaged hulls. They did not speak of peace. They spoke only of revenge. On Earth, the mood stayed quiet. No loud celebrations. People repaired cities. They buried the fallen. They thanked the living. Colonel Kevin Brooks walked through a damaged district near the capital. Smoke still rose from some buildings. Children played carefully among the rubble. He stopped to speak with a young Marine who had lost an arm. The Marine smiled tired. "We held, sir." Kevin nodded. "You did more than hold. You reminded them who we are." Captain Lisa Carter organized relief teams. She helped carry supplies. She listened to stories. One old woman told her about hiding in a basement while Vexari drones searched above. "I thought it was the end," the woman said. Lisa put a hand on her shoulder. "It was not. We are still here." The Galactic Concord sent messages. Polite, careful. They asked for talks. They offered aid. Kevin answered through official channels. "We accept help for our wounded. We welcome talks. But our borders stay closed until trust is earned." Neutral observers arrived first. Lorani medical ships. Dracon engineers. Krell observers who stayed far back. They saw humans work without panic. They saw order return fast. They saw no hate in the eyes of the victors. Only resolve. The Vexari waited 6 months. Then they struck again. This time not at Earth. They hit the outer colonies. Small raids. Fast. They burned farms. They took mining stations. They left messages carved into rock. The swarm remembers. "You will pay." Kevin called his commanders. "They test us. They want to see if we tire. We show them we do not." The response came swift. Human strike groups jumped to the attacked systems. They arrived before the Vexari could leave. Fighters chased raiders through asteroid belts. Destroyers cut off escape routes. Boarding teams took hive ships from inside. They freed captured workers. They destroyed queen chambers. They left the surviving drones alive, but without connection. The raids stopped. The Vexari changed tactics. They built a new supernexus, a massive hive ship, bigger than any before. It linked thousands of smaller vessels. It could think faster, strike harder. They aimed it at the Forge Belt, the ring of factories that built human ships. Take it, and Earth would slow. Lose it, and the swarm would win. Kevin knew the target. He moved the Vanguard and the main fleet there. Lisa led the ground defense on the largest forge moon. Marines placed guns in every crater. They hid anti-ship batteries under cooling towers. They waited. The supernexus arrived with its swarm, thousands of black shapes. They pushed straight. No caution. The human fleet met them head-on. Carriers launched fighters. The small craft swarmed like angry bees. They hit the outer hive ships. They cleared paths. Destroyers flanked. Railguns spoke. The supernexus shields glowed red. It pushed forward. Lisa watched from the surface. They want the factories. They get us instead. When dropships came down, the moon answered. Hidden guns opened fire. Explosives tore landing zones. Marines moved through dust clouds. They fought close. Vexari warriors charged. Humans held every trench. They pushed back. One group reached the main factory gate. Lisa stood there, rifle raised. This ends here. Her troops flanked. Fire poured from every side. The Vexari fell. The rest retreated to their ships. In space, Kevin pressed the attack. The Vanguard dove close to the supernexus. It took heavy fire. Armor peeled. Guns kept firing. Kevin gave the final order. All wings, concentrate on the core. Everything we have. Torpedoes launched. Rail slugs followed. Fighters dropped charges. The supernexus shook. Cracks spread. The core failed. A massive explosion ripped through the ship. Linked hive vessels died with it. The swarm broke completely. Ships scattered. Some jumped away. Others burned. Human forces did not chase far. They held the line. They protected the factories. Rescue teams worked for days. They saved pilots. They contained Vexari survivors. The Super Nexus wreckage became a tomb. Kevin stood on the bridge after the fight. The crew looked worn. He spoke quiet. We stopped them. Again. Lisa joined him. Her armor showed new scars. They lost their biggest weapon. Their mind is broken. Kevin looked toward Earth. They will not forget this time. The galaxy watched the final battle feeds. Neutral channels showed the Super Nexus explode. They showed humans hold the moon against thousands. They showed mercy after the end. Lorani elders sang of the flame that refused to fade. Dracon warlords raised blades in salute. Krell hives clicked warnings to their young. Do not cross the returned. Trade offers came. Alliances formed. Humans answered careful. We seek peace, but we remember. Kevin looked at the stars from his command deck. Lisa stood beside him. They thought we were myth, she said. Kevin nodded. Now they know we storm into battle. He smiled small. And we win. The war had turned. The myth had become legend. And the galaxy would never forget. The galaxy had forgotten humans long ago. Old stories spoke of them as wild, short-lived beings who fought with strange weapons and never gave up. Then their worlds went quiet. No more signals, no more ships, no more wars. Species after species decided the humans had died out. The gentle Lirani called them the Lost Sparks. The strong Drakon named them the Forgotten Fury. The hive-minded Krell simply filed their records under extinct. For 2,000 years, no one saw a living human. The name became a myth told to young ones or used to explain broken ruins on dead planets. Life moved on, trade grew, empires rose and fell. Then a new danger appeared in the outer sectors. The Vexari swarm, endless black ships, endless hunger. They ate planets layer by layer. They left nothing but rock and silence. Species ran or bowed. The Galactic Concord tried to talk. The swarm answered with claws and acid. When the swarm reached the old human border zones, they found empty space, abandoned stations, cold outposts, no defenses. The Vexari swarm lords clicked in pleasure. Easy food. They pushed forward without caution. A single message stopped them. It came from a small yellow star system near the rim. A calm male voice spoke clear trade standard. This is Colonel Kevin Brooks, United Earth Defense Force. You have crossed into protected space. Reverse course immediately. The Vexari ignored the words. They sent scout drones. The drones never came back. Instead, faint sensor blips appeared. Ships too fast to lock. One Vexari scout vessel exploded in a single railgun flash. No debris cloud. No follow-up attack. Just gone. The swarm sent a larger group. 50 hive ships. They expected nothing. They met humans. 3 carriers waited behind a gas giant. 8 destroyers hid in the rings. Plain gray hulls. No bright colors. No huge guns on display. When the Vexari crossed the marker line, the humans moved. Fighters launched from the carriers. Hundreds of small craft. They flew wild patterns. No neat formations. They slipped past shields. They dropped charges on weak spots. Railguns fired short bursts. Precise hits tore hulls open. Larvae spilled into space. Hive ships shook. The Vexari tried to swarm. Human destroyers used the rings for cover. They darted out. They hit engines. They hit queen chambers. One hive ship after another cracked. The swarm mind felt pain. Confusion spread through the network. Captain Lisa Carter commanded one destroyer. She kept her voice steady on the fleet channel. "All wings, focus the carriers. Take the queens. The drones will break." Her ship dove low. It fired torpedoes that split mid-flight. Each warhead found a target. A large hive carrier exploded in white fire. The surrounding drones froze for seconds, then turned on each other. Colonel Kevin Brooks watched from the flagship bridge. Tall man, short dark hair, calm brown eyes. He gave orders without raising his voice. "Port batteries, target the Nexus cluster. Fire on my mark." The flagship guns spoke. Beams and slugs hit the central hive ship. Shields failed. Hull breached. The Nexus died. The swarm connection shattered. Ships drifted helpless. The battle lasted less than 2 hours. 50 Vexari ships became wreckage. Human losses stayed low. 2 fighters down. 1 destroyer damaged but still fighting. Rescue teams launched right after. They pulled human pilots from escape pods. They scanned for Vexari survivors. A few drones still moved. They were contained. No hate, just control. The galaxy caught the battle data fast. Listening posts recorded fragments. Neutral ships watched from far away. They saw small gray ships destroy a swarm. They saw humans fight without anger. Just purpose. On the Lorani homeworld, elders gathered in crystal halls. They replayed the footage. One elder spoke soft. "The lost sparks have returned, and they still burn." In Drakenstone Keeps, warlords growled in respect. The forgotten fury walks again. We watch them close. Krell hives buzzed with nervous clicks. They were dead. Now they kill swarms. We must be careful. Word spread to every corner. Humans existed. Humans had ships. Humans had returned from silence. Kevin Brooks stood on his bridge after the fight. Smoke still hung in the air. Crew cleaned stations. He looked at the stars. "They thought we were myth," he said to Lisa. "Now they know we are real." Lisa nodded. "They will come back, bigger." Kevin looked at Earth on the main screen. Blue oceans, green lands. "Let them come. We waited 2,000 years. We are ready." The Vexari swarm regrouped in deep space. Their hive minds clicked in rage. They gathered more ships, hundreds. They planned to strike the human home system, end the myth before it spread. On Earth, factories hummed day and night. Shipyards built new carriers. Engineers tested weapons from old archives. Volunteers trained. Ordinary people became soldiers. They learned to fly fighters, to fire railguns, to board enemy ships. Lisa Carter walked the training fields. She looked at young recruits. "They think we are legends," she told them. "We show them we are fact. When they come, we storm into battle." The galaxy waited. Neutral species watched silent. Some hoped for peace. Others feared the return of the old fury. The day came. The Vexari swarm reached the outer marker. Hundreds of black shapes filled space. Kevin gave the order. "All ships, battle stations, we meet them." The human fleet moved forward, not to hide, not to run, to fight. The myth had ended. The battle had begun. The Vexari swarm pulled back from the first defeat and licked their wounds in the dark between stars. Their hive minds clicked in anger and confusion. One small fleet of gray ships had torn through 50 hive vessels. No mercy, no waste, just clean, efficient death. The swarm commanders broadcast orders across their network. More ships, more drones, more hunger. They would return with numbers that no myth could stop. On Earth, Colonel Kevin Brooks did not celebrate the victory. He gathered his officers in a plain briefing room under Luna's surface. Screens showed enemy movements. Red dots spread like blood. He pointed at the map. "They are coming again. Bigger, faster. We do not wait for them to choose the battlefield. Captain Lisa Carter stood beside him. She studied the patterns. They swarm. We use that against them. Split their focus. Hit the queens. The rest collapse. The plan formed quick. Layered defense. Outer pickets to slow the enemy. Middle ambushes to bleed them. Inner ring around Earth and the main colonies to finish what remained. Every shipyard worked without pause. New fighters rolled off lines. Marines drilled boarding actions. Pilots learned to fly in the chaos of a swarm. The Vexari arrived at the outer rim 2 months later. Hundreds of hive ships, black shapes that blocked stars. They moved as one mind. They pushed toward the human core. No words, no demands, just consumption. Kevin gave the order from the UNS Vanguard. All groups, execute Phase 1. The outer pickets struck first. Small destroyers waited in asteroid belts. They waited until the swarm passed close. Then they fired. Railguns punched through weak outer hulls. Missiles curved in from blind spots. Hive ships cracked. Larvae spilled. The swarm slowed to fight. That was the mistake. Human carriers appeared from behind rocks. Fighters launched in waves. They did not fly neat lines. They danced. They rolled. They used every gap in the enemy formation. One fighter group dove low over a hive ship. They dropped charges on the queen chamber. The ship shuddered, then split. The swarm mind felt the pain. Confusion spread. Lisa Carter led a strike team on a fast cruiser. They targeted a large hive carrier. Stealth approach, silent docking. Marines cut through the hull. Inside, tunnels twisted like veins. They moved fast. Lights low. Rifles ready. Vexari drones rushed them. Human fire cut them down. They reached the queen chamber. The queen hissed. Lisa raised her weapon. End it. One shot. The queen died. The carrier went mad. Drones turned on each other. The ship drifted helpless. The swarm pushed deeper. They reached the middle zone. Ambush points waited. Hidden platforms fired kinetic storms. Slugs moved faster than light could track them from close range. Hive ships shattered. Others tried to swarm the platforms. Human destroyers flanked them. They hit weapon nodes. The swarm lost another 100 ships. Kevin watched the display. Losses on both sides. Human ships burned too. Crews fought fires, sealed breaches, kept guns hot. One carrier took heavy damage. It stayed in the fight. Its fighters launched until the last deck failed. The swarm reached the inner ring. Earth hung blue and calm below. Orbital platforms glowed. They were small but many. They fired in rhythm. Missiles saturated space. The Vexari tried to land. Dropships poured down. On the ground, Marine units waited. Colonel Kevin Brooks had placed them in every likely landing zone. Cities, farms, mountains. They used the planet itself as a weapon. Hidden guns in forests, explosives under roads, snipers on rooftops. Lisa led the defense at New Chicago. Dropships came in waves. Marines met them at the edge of the city. Rail rifles cracked. Grenades rolled. Vexari warriors charged. Humans held the line. They fell back slow. Drew the enemy deeper. Then counterattacked. Street by street. Building by building. The Vexari found no easy prey. Every corner held death. One Vexari swarm lord faced Lisa in a ruined square. It towered over her. Mandibles clicked. You cannot win. We are endless. Lisa looked up steady. You are many. We are stubborn. Her team flanked. Fire from 3 sides. The swarm lord fell. The rest broke. In orbit, Kevin pressed the attack. The Vanguard took the lead. It dove into the heart of the swarm. Guns roared. Shields glowed red. Crew worked without rest. Kevin gave orders calm. Target the central nexus. All batteries. The Vanguard fired everything. Beams, railguns, torpedoes. The Nexus ship cracked. A chain reaction started. Hive ships linked to it died with it. The swarm mines shattered. Confusion became panic. Ships turned to flee. Human fighters chased them. They hit stragglers. They showed no hate. Just finish the job. When the last Vexari ship jumped away or burned, silence fell. Space filled with wreckage. Rescue teams launched. They pulled survivors from both sides. Human wounded received care. Vexari drones too broken to fight were contained. No torture, no revenge. Kevin stood on the bridge. Smoke hung in the air. Crew looked tired, but proud. He spoke quiet. We held. We showed them the myth walks. Lisa joined him later. She still wore armor with fresh marks. They will think twice now. Kevin looked at Earth below. Blue oceans, green lands. They will, and if they forget, we remind them. The galaxy received the battle data. Alien channels showed the small gray fleet against hundreds. The precise strikes, the stubborn defense, the mercy after victory. The Lorani sang new songs of the returned flame. The Drakon sharpened blades in respect. The Krell hives clicked in caution. Humans had been myth. Now, they were fact. The Vexari swarm did not give up after the second defeat. Their hive minds felt the pain of lost queens and broken connections. Rage spread through every ship. They gathered the largest force yet, over 500 hive vessels, new armor plates, stronger acid launchers, faster drones. They moved as one dark cloud toward the human core systems. This time they planned to overwhelm. No tricks, no mercy, just numbers and hunger. Colonel Kevin Brooks watched the incoming swarm on the main display of the UNS Vanguard. Hundreds of red markers filled the screen. He turned to Captain Lisa Carter. They bring everything. We use everything. The defense plan had 3 layers. Outer screen to slow them. Middle kill zone to bleed them. Inner fortress around Earth and the main colonies. Every ship, every platform, every marine stood ready. Volunteers from colonies arrived daily. Factories ran without stop. Ground troops dug in deeper. The outer screen met the swarm first. Small, fast groups of human destroyers waited in scattered asteroid fields. They did not charge. They waited. When the leading hive ships entered the fields, the destroyers struck. Railguns fired from cover. Missiles came from unexpected angles. Hive ships cracked open. Drones spilled out. The swarm slowed to fight the ghosts in the rocks. Human carriers appeared next. They launched fighters in tight waves. The small craft used every trick. They flew low over hulls. They dropped charges on queen chambers. They used the dead ships as shields. One fighter pilot looped around a hive ship. He ejected at the last second. His craft slammed into the core. The ship exploded in white light. The swarm mine screamed through its network. Lisa Carter led a special strike group in the middle zone. 5 cruisers, stealth-coated. They slipped close to a large cluster of hive ships. They targeted the command nexus vessels, the ones that linked the swarm thoughts. Her team launched boarding pods. Marines cut through hulls. Inside the tunnels were dark and wet. Vexari drones rushed them. Human rail rifles answered. They moved steady, room by room. Lisa reached a nexus chamber. The queen there was huge, surrounded by guards. She raised her weapon. "For Earth," she said quiet. Her team fired together. The queen fell. The guards froze. The nexus connection broke. Nearby hive ships lost direction. They drifted into each other. Collisions lit the dark. The swarm pushed to the inner ring. Earth hung blue below. Orbital platforms glowed. Hundreds of small stations. They fired kinetic barrages. Slugs punched through armor. Hive ships shattered. Others tried to land. Dropships came down in waves. On the ground, marine lines waited. Cities turned into fortresses. Streets became kill zones. Hidden guns in buildings. Explosives under bridges. Snipers on towers. When the first dropships landed, the planet answered. Lisa joined the ground fight near the capital. She led a battalion through ruined parks. Vexari warriors charged. Marines held positions. Railfire cut them down. Grenades rolled. The enemy pushed. Humans pushed back harder. One Vexari group reached a main square. Lisa stood in front, rifle steady. "This is our home," she said through translator. "You do not take it." Her troops flanked. Fire came from every side. The Vexari broke. They ran back to their ships. Many did not make it. In orbit, Kevin pressed the center. The Vanguard took hit after hit. Armor glowed. Crew worked fast, sealed leaks, rerouted power. Guns never stopped. Kevin gave orders calm. All batteries on the Super Nexus, full power. The flagship fired everything. Beams, railguns, torpedoes. The Super Nexus shook. Its core cracked. A chain explosion started. Hive ships linked to it died in flashes. The swarm mine shattered completely. Ships turned to flee. Some crashed into each other. Others jumped blind. Human fighters chased the runners. They hit engines. They showed no mercy to threats. But they stopped at the border. No pursuit into deep space. When the last enemy vanished, silence returned. Space filled with broken hulls. Rescue teams moved in. They saved human pilots. They scanned for Vexari survivors. A few queens still lived. They were contained, studied, not killed for sport. Tevin walked the deck after the battle. Crew cheered soft. He looked tired but steady. "We held the line," he said. "We showed them the myth fights back." Lisa met him later. Her armor showed fresh burns. "They lost half their swarm, maybe more." Kevin nodded. "They will think long before they come again." The galaxy received the data soon after. Neutral observers shared footage. Small human fleets against hundreds. Precise strikes. Mercy and victory. The images spread fast. The Lorani sang new verses about the returned flame that refused to die. The Draken warlords nodded in respect. The Forgotten Fury remembers how to storm. The Krell hives clicked careful warnings. Do not wake them again. Trade ships started to approach human space. Careful hails, polite questions. Some species offered gifts. Others asked for talks. Humans answered calm. "We welcome peace, but we protect what is ours." Kevin stood on a balcony overlooking Earth. Stars shone bright. Lisa joined him. "They called us myth," she said. Kevin looked up. "Now they call us unstoppable." He smiled small. "And if anyone forgets," Lisa finished, "we remind them." The battle had ended.